Shout out to USARK and all USARK members. If you don't know what USARK is, don't be ashamed. Just go ahead and click the third link in the description below. See what USARK is all about, okay? You never know when legislations are going to hit your backyard, so that's why it's very important to consider becoming a USARK member today. These numbers really do matter, and they look at it for consideration when it comes to battling legislation. So first and foremost, thank you, Phil Goss. Thank you to anybody out there who partners up and volunteers with USARK organization. Thank you for anyone out there who's a USARK member. And if you can't become a USARK member today, please talk about it on your platforms. Let your neighbors know, let all your pet stores know what USARK is here for, and it's here to fight for our animal rights. Thank you to every USARK member and USARK supporter out there. True.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, I love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world, episode 624, live and direct. And I thought I was in Maryland, and I'm not in Maryland. I'm in Virginia, right? Is that right, boys?
Yes, sir. You're in Virginia.
I'm so happy to be here. What is good, guys? Before we get started, this episode is brought to you by MorphMarket. So thank you so much, MorphMarket, for sending me over here to the showcase, I guess, compound. What do we call this? Do you guys call this room anything? Or
Showcase Serpents facility. Headquarters, yeah.
listen, we have a guest hanging out with us on top of everyone else here. But before we do that, why don't we go around the horn here, introduce ourselves? We have quite the group here. Sebastian, why don't we start with you? Introduce yourself, the name of your IG, and also what you do with Clutch. Why don't you take it from there?
Sure. Hi. So Sebastian Walker. I think I was on your show two years ago.
Yes.
Pleasure to be back again.
Yeah.
Adam and myself, I let Adam do his introduction. We started Showcase Serpents together. Well, you started Showcase Serpents, and we combined our collection, about eight years ago. And we built a facility that we'll talk about in detail here in Northern Virginia. I'm also my company. I run a company called Method Data, and we are the software development company behind Clutch. So happy to talk about how we built that and the challenges around that, and why we're so proud of what we built.
Who's this guy, dude? Because this guy's awesome. And I got to tell you right now, like, Belio, shout out to Belio for picking me up at the airport. We're going to meet more about him right now. But on the way over here, I forgot that it's more than just, Sebastian when it comes to Showcase Serpents. But from what I understand, you like to be behind the scenes, but we're actually at your property. So introduce yourself, Adam. Tell us what you actually do here and all that other good stuff.
So yeah, I'm Adam. I'm one of the partners here, Showcase Serpents. Sebastian is the face of Showcase Serpents, and that's
a face.
Yeah. And that's how I'm able to stay here and work primarily with the animals, and that's how I prefer.
You didn't say what you were though. He's the face and you're the brains.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but okay, let's talk about what year you really started getting into this as far as like the breeding side of things, because you're not a COVID breeder. You didn't just come around the block not too long ago. It's like you've been in this for a minute.
2008 is when I got started with ball pythons. I was down in the Virginia Beach area in the Navy. and ended up going to Richmond Reptile Expo and all the different breeders, Colin Weaver, those guys down in Virginia Beach, Outback. Those guys were always at the Richmond show, and I was one of those guys that, too quickly, before I was even breeding, I was doing the logo, I was doing the name and stuff. So maybe a little bit, earlier than it should have. But when me and Sebastian ended up combining our collections and dividing our roles, I already had the logo, I already had the art assets and everything. So we just ended up keeping the Showcase Serpents thing.
And my business name got dumped, and Adam won, which was way better than my name. So.
We kept it as, the backup.
What was your name? Share it.
It was Royals of Africa. It was terrible.
Royals of Africa?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It just didn't have any logos or anything.
So TJ stepped it up to Fadi.
There we go.
Yeah, so, I mean, right on.
Still getting good use.
Yeah. Right on, Adam. Well, listen, we're going to get more into things, but who's this gentleman right here? Let's meet this guy. I've seen him in pictures, and you're definitely a lot taller in person.
So my name's Clarence.
Talking to my ear.
My name's Clarence. My company is More for Us.
All right.
I work along with Showcase, so I'm fairly new in the hobby. And one thing that was important to me to make sure that I line myself up with success is that I line myself up with guys that knew what they was doing, that had integrity, had the knowledge, had the experience. So me and Sebastian became close friends. I'll tell that story another time. But yeah, so these guys, we've been working together. They've been mentoring, just giving me a lot of education, a lot of knowledge, a lot of foresight. It's been tons of fun too. Tons of fun.
I'd love to hear it, man.
So what really happened? We were in a club in DC at 1 a.m, oil wrestling, and he whispered in my ear, "What do you know about ball pythons?" I said, "Oh, ball pythons, tell me more." Let's stop wrestling, and then and here we are.
It's a typical ball python origin story.
That's how we all meet each other, don't we?
I don't know, man. I'm not gonna. My experience was different. All right, so we'll introduce my man right here, Balil.
Oh, Bilal. He can say Balil though. You can say Balil. It's okay. It's Bilal though. My company's Maddox Morphs. I'm like Adam. I kind of try to stay out of the limelight as well. But you need me to bring this up? Yeah. Like I don't know what to do with my hands. So, but I do really enjoy talking ball pythons, reptiles, things of that nature. And it just so happened that Showcase was pretty local to me. And I met Adam once, and I'm not going to talk him up like Clarence did, but and I realized how much of a good guy he was. So and here I am. I never left. Yeah. So I'm a child now of the crew, and I'm enjoying it.
I will say, man, I think the Reptiles makes us all a child in a way, right? Don't you? I mean, don't we all feel like kids? We were talking about earlier how like you spend time conversating with some stranger over the phone. And it's not such a stranger after a few conversations. It's like, man, do we become best friends? Like, and that's what you feel like that is built, I got a good friend of mine that's hanging. I don't know. Should we bring him in? I don't know if you guys met him before. Let's see if he's hey, Jeremy, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, it's Jacob Elka.
And how you doing, buddy? Thanks for being here tonight. It means a lot.
Yeah, good, man. Good. Everything's good. And man, so it's such an honor to join the crew there, man. I've been to that facility several times. It's one of my happy places.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm happy to be here because this is quite the crew. I mean, you would definitely agree, Justin, that meeting the people that you get to meet in this hobby is like, if not the better half of everything that we do, right? Like, what a great feeling to be around people you would have never met if it wasn't for the snakes.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I got to hang out with several of those there at Tinley this past time. And yeah, these relationships are the spice of life, as it makes it fun.
So Justin, do you think Adam needs to come to a Tinley? He's never been to a Tinley.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Why is that, Adam?
Yeah, tell us, Adam, why?
So much work. Got work to do.
That is such a weak excuse.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
He says that to him.
Listen, we all have two jobs. We're reptile breeders. So come on.
Adam will be there in October. You've got to be there in October.
Yeah.
So it's cool to be in a room full of Monarch stuff, Justin. I'll tell you that much. They're not messing around over here. I think I was at your facility not too long ago, and I was telling you, I was like, "What's up with Monarch?" Because I feel like there's a lot of Ultramel stuff being put out there. And I mean, I'm Monarch till I die, but dude, there's some freaking cool Ultramel stuff coming out. You know what I'm saying? Where can we lead this conversation off with Monarch, Justin, as far as how you feel it's at currently in your collection, and then we'll go to Sebastian and Adam.
Yeah, well, I think we start by just saying, it's gotten good enough now that we don't have to Photoshop it anymore, and that's something,
Oh man.
Yeah, what do you got to say to that, Adam?
Adam loves a bit of photoshopping. No, he doesn't.
Hey, what a time in the hobby though, Justin. I mean, I was telling these guys before we went live, like, there's not much room for error when it comes to Canova, right? You got people who are just staring at everything that you do and one little oversaturation, and it's pitchfork time. But how did it feel to overcome that though?
Oh, I mean, it wasn't about overcoming or not overcoming. I took my licks because it wasn't a perfect situation. I didn't do a perfect job on that in that scenario. But we're all humans and we just move on. And the animals are amazing. And anybody who sees them in person, there's no question, about what they look like once you see them in person.
So Adam, why don't we get Adam's take, because we were talking a little bit about how it's unfortunate that a lot of people take one scenario to like, well, everyone else is editing their photos, you know what I mean, and you feel like that's definitely not the case, right? But how does it feel being so vested into a project where rumors are floating around that Monarch isn't what it is, and people are editing their photos all because of this one situation?
Well, it really hits me when every time I hear this, all the Monarch stuff is being, photoshopped, is that I've never posted a photo of a Monarch combo like that looked better than what it looks like in real life. Every time I posted, I'm like, I wish I could have captured more of that contrast. I wish I could have captured more of that color. Anyone who's complaining about the Monarch stuff being posted, they haven't seen it in real life. Right. Anyone who's been here and seen our Monarch stuff, I'm confident they're not going to say, well, it looked better online. It's the Monarch stuff looks better in person, period.
And let's go. Yeah, right. Sebastian, let me ask you, as far as, what your thoughts were during that moment with the whole Monarch rumors, and, what was your take on all that?
So I'll say a couple of things. I think the people that know me know that I'm a very direct person. I don't play games. I don't get myself involved in politics. I try to be kind to everybody. People phone me. Yeah. I'm not going to get into any arguments with anybody.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Ultramel stuff here too.
Right.
We work in the Ultramel project. Probably 20% of what we got in terms of Ultramel Monarch, 80% Monarch, 20% Ultramel. Both are amazing. We're not going to ditch Ultramel. We're not going to put Ultramel down. We've got no vested interest in the game. What did upset us is, the photos shown with our animals, and we were told, no one ever contacted us about it, but that we had gone and edited photos. Of course we didn't,
Right.
And I'll say what's most interesting is that we sell 70% of our Monarch stuff with people visiting. People come and say, I want to see Monarch. I'm thinking about getting into it. They come and they never leave without taking an animal, ever. It's very hard to actually capture Monarch. And, there's going to be you'll get a whole lot of footage, and we'll show you some crazy Monarch stuff. And the contrast, they're two totally different genes. And the beauty of Monarch is that Ultramel's been around for 20 years. And the projects have gone far.
Right.
Whereas we're just starting with Monarch now. And there's so much that we're going to do. There's probably got 20 close people I know who are doing Monarch projects, and we're all doing different things. We're working together to do different projects in different areas, and it's going to explode in the next few years. There's going to be so much Monarch stuff that you couldn't imagine today. So I never spoke to anyone who made accusations. I'm not interested in that. Let animals speak for themselves. Yeah. People know who I am. Call me if you want to talk to me. Happily talk about it.
Yeah. So, okay. Speaking of like letting the animals speak for themselves, you've done that before with Monarch combos on your channel, Justin, which is just, mind blowing when it shows the potential with Monarch. But like, where do you feel like Monarch needs to head to where you could take a picture of it, not having to worry about people actually capturing what the combo could do? Because we know Ultramel is on a brighter side of things, and that's brighter is good for cameras, right? But man, I'm seeing this stuff in person here, and Sebastian's right. It's it's hard to really connect dots via phone shots. So how does somebody work?
Well, first of all, it's more of a social thing than anything else. You know, what other mutation is constantly compared to another mutation? Like, you can't say Ultramel without people saying Monarch. Some people saying Ultramel. I don't even understand why there's this connection between them. Somehow it's like a weird complex and like a weird, it's almost like a joke. It's a joke of a joke of a joke. We don't even remember the original anymore. You know, it's
played out.
yeah. And you know, there's no reason that, you know, I mean, there's no people don't sit there and compare albinos with lavenders or candies with regular albino. It's just this one thing. So I think it's just kind of tired. But beyond that, I think there's a little bit of an interesting thing that goes on with Monarch. I'd love to hear you guys' opinion. But I know sometimes I'll hold a Monarch for a photo, and it's kind of like, you know, remember a few years ago there was that that photo that was going around. It was like, is it a gold dress or a blue dress? And everybody's like, you chose a side. Everybody fought. People who could see blue, they couldn't see gold. And people who saw gold couldn't see blue. Well, Monarch, there's something about those dark purples, especially in the darker mutations, that when your eye sees it, your eye says, well, that must be black. So since that part's black, then it just skews it. And I think cameras do the same. If you put a Monarch, I usually, nowadays when I'm doing it, I put a Monarch next to a regular version of it, because next to a true black, the purples are purple. And your eye knows they're purple because they have a reference point. And that's what I found. I think that's why it's a little bit hard to get the photos right on them. But in person, they're, you know, it's easy to see.
Well, what's the nicest Monarch combo you've made to date, Justin?
Well, it's probably one we haven't shown yet, but it was the Dark Knight one that we made just recently. The Dark Knight Monarch was my favorite by far. Yeah.
We're talking a whole other game-changing, you know, snake that we're looking at, that I feel like a snake like that doesn't have issues when you take a phone shot of it. You know what I'm saying? You can see, I mean, and it's even better in person, like they all are. But at the end of the day, like, you know, people don't have the luxury like I have to come over here and see stuff in person. But there are stuff that people see just via phone shots or on MorphMarket. Like, all right, I'm in, you know, and that's the thing. I mean, let's think about it. You can't sit here and say everything goes with Ultramel, because that's not true, right? Like, you can't just shove everything.
There's nothing where everything goes with it. There's no mutation where everything.
Well,
goes
hold on.
All right, think of one.
Okay, chocolate.
Yes.
What's not good with chocolate?
Chocolate bleu Lucy. I know that's kind of a
what the hell? Because that doesn't count, dude. I mean, I guess it does.
Chocolate is pretty great though, but you know, chocolate is, everybody loves chocolate.
It's hard to get one by Justin. You know that, right? It's like, dude, I thought I stumbled him. He's like,
I did have to reach pretty hard on that one though.
All right, so listen, I want to ask Sebastian and Adam. Well, first and foremost, Adam, who was the main purpose or drive behind the Monarch project in general? Like, who brought it up first? Where did that stunts from?
Oh, I'll never forget the first time I saw a Monarch. It was one of those morphs that just kind of like hits you, like it just like an impact on you. And we were Sebastian was taking a road trip down to see Justin. This was many years back,
5 years ago,
maybe 5-6 years ago, and invited me to join him. And we were hanging out in Justin's facility. He was showing us some of his the newer stuff, and I saw one bin that was labeled Monarch, and I asked him if I could take a look, and he said, yeah, sure. And I'd never heard of it, and I was like, Monarch, I never heard of that morph. I opened it up, and it just like just amazing. I love the color. I hadn't seen anything like that.
What year was this, Adam?
5 years ago.
About maybe
6 years ago.
Yeah. 2018 is before COVID, well before COVID.
Yeah, it was a few years before COVID.
Maybe 2018.
But it was, what was interesting is it was the visit. It was the seeing the Monarch.
Yeah.
That just like us, people coming to see us and they see Monarch. And interestingly, that's how you got into Monarch, because Justin gave us the boy on a breed alone. We produced double hits with clowns. We split the clutch. He sold them. You ended up via getting a double hit pair. You put them together. You produced a visual spot nose Monarch clown, the first in America. I think no one had produced one.
Second. Justin beat me to it. I produced the second. Justin beat me to the first one. But they were both females, so I didn't win on that one either.
And so why don't we talk about where you got your stock from? It all came from Sebastian as well? Or?
So apparently we found out that it did. Later on, it came from Sebastian, but I purchased from Justin. I saw Monarch on Justin's video, and I was always a Blackhead fan. I loved everything dark. Right. So when I saw the Monarch, I was like, oh, that's perfect. You know, the dark, deep purples. And then when I saw one in person, it was.
Remember the pairing that you had to hit that?
That pairing was a double hat. The female was a double hat, and the male was a spot nose double hat.
Dude, double hats for the win.
And what's ironic?
So 1 in 64.
It was worth. It's more than that. It was like 1 in. It was way more than 1 in 60. There you go. It was way more. And what's ironic is, right before that, I got frustrated with snakes, and I think everybody goes through that. We're like, like it was because it was getting on my nerves, and I reached out to somebody we had in common that did feeders, and that's how I met Sebastian. He somehow told Sebastian that I had Monarch too. So Sebastian called me and said, hey, I heard you trying to sell some Monarch stuff. And he didn't want to buy the double hats. He was like, no, I don't want double hats. I want visuals. Like 5 months later, I hit. So thankfully, he didn't buy them from me, and I was able to produce. During that time when I was tired, I was struggling with them for a minute, but I figured it out.
Yeah, and Justin, I mean, I think you're somebody who one thing I love about what you're proud of, Justin, is like when you have to go to your customer and buy something that you need from them. Like I think that's like what goes full circle, you would say, right?
Yeah, I love hearing stories about how, animals, start with me and they make their way around, the offspring. It's really, really cool. And yeah, I do buy a lot of snakes back from customers. Not the originals. I buy the grandbabies, because they'll hit a combo with babies they bought from me way before I hit a combo sometimes, odds or whatever. And I'm a great customer of my customers.
Yeah. Do you feel maybe, Justin, and maybe it's not intentionally, but some people feel like they have too much pride to go to their customers and buy a snake from them because they feel like, oh, now this person is going to feel like they're ahead of me or something? Like, do you feel like that's something some people might battle on behind the scenes?
Perhaps it's your loss, because the right snake is the right snake regardless of who makes it, and honestly, what's better thing to do to your customer than give them money? More money than they gave you, you're giving that money back plus some. That's amazing.
Go
ahead.
No, I was gonna say I absolutely love it when go back to a customer and buy from them because they having success. We say all of us succeed because the people who sell snakes to succeed and the people they sell snakes to succeed. And you've got to, the economy grows, the economy of this industry grows because people are spending money and putting money back in again. And I love it when somebody comes and says, I produce something amazing, are you interested? Like, yeah, okay, we are interested. I love seeing their success.
And that's what I was going to say too. Yeah. And basically you also standing behind your product, right?
100%.
And that says a lot about your business.
Well, yeah, because we're just talking about like where'd he get his snakes from, and he just mentioned who he got it from, and that goes forever in this. Like people always talk about where the pairings came from, and that kind of is how your name is built. You know what I mean? Like Justin, how many years has it been now since you've been a customer of your customers? It's been a while. Like you've been buying snakes from your own customers for years.
Since the beginning. Since the beginning, literally. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like a lot of people learn and grow into business having snakes, but I don't know, Justin, your mindset is different for sure, because I know how competitive and still competitive this game is, but we're talking like pre-social media, where I heard stories that you weren't always treated the best at shows and stuff like that because nobody really thought much of you because you weren't at that level. You know what I mean? But why don't we give Justin some flowers like we were talking about earlier? We talk about some of the first channels out there to put like YouTube content with ball pythons, and me and Adam was talking about like you saw a bunch of stuff, like Ralph Davis showed you his racks, you saw things, and say with bar check, but who was actually giving us information? Like who was actually telling us temperatures, what day the eggs get cut? And I feel like you were the pioneer for that, buddy. So
can I
started watching Ralph early, and Ralph inspired me. And there wasn't a lot of people doing it back then, and I had no idea that YouTube was going to be a big deal, but it was just something to do. When you get started with snakes, a lot of times you're all excitement, and there's only so much work you can do. You only have so big a collection, and the females aren't laying yet, and you got no babies. you gotta go out there and make some content, make something happen.
Can I tell a quick story today that happened that relates to Justin he doesn't know about? So we had a 10-year-old girl came with her parents today to buy a snake, and she came 2 months ago to look at snakes, and she came back to buy. Justin, she said to me, she's a super sweet 10-year-old girl. She said to me, the reason she's interested in ball pythons was that snake you had with the smiley face, the
emoji snake.
The emoji snake.
My family talks about that snake to this day.
Yeah, and she said that was she saw that, and that was enough. And she came with her parents today and bought a $500 snake, and it was her first ever snake, and it was so sweet just watching her go through all the snakes and how excited she was about it, and the way she held it, and it was just amazing. And it was that video that got her interested in the beginning. Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, when I was getting started, the first time I got, I was working hard to get a clutch of eggs, and then I finally got them, and then I realized, the finer points. What exactly do I need to do to set these up for success? And there was Justin. He had a video up, and this is like 2009. Yeah, he had the original guy that was putting out information, sharing information. Justin was, stood out that he was treating you more like a colleague than a customer.
Right.
And trying to help you, replicate his
like
success.
Leveling with you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I remember first coming in, only watching bar check content, and I felt so intimidated. I could never remember looking at that, who is this guy, a freaking superhero? Like, what is this? You know what I mean?
Endless walls.
Yeah, you just see it's like a whole nother world. And I've been a reptile lover since the get-go, but I never knew there was a world of this. And when you see it going into your 30s, and you feel like you've been on this earth forever, it makes you feel like a child, dude. Like, absolutely. This shit is all just brings the fountain of youth out of you, And it's crazy to hear about, children are still connected to what we do, and it kind of brings everything. What's crazy is, how old is that girl?
10-year-old girl.
So what's crazy is, in 10 years she'll be out of high school. She'll probably could be a possible breeder, or even a big you could be a customer of her. You don't know.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah.
And it's kind of what brings everything in together. And also too, a lot of ways that are now, they aren't like how they were back in the days, how information is the way, giving good advice and passing down this information. Not only does it give you good karma, but it just helps everything and everyone. And it's also like selling a good snake. If you could actually give good advice to somebody, even on a platform like this, dude, people take that advice and they run with it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's all about passing that information down.
I think so many people say to us when they come and visit, I can't believe how transparent you are. This is what we've got. We'll show everybody everything. People phone me and talk about a project. I always caveat to say, this is what works for us. And I'll share openly and honestly. I'll share the project we're working on. I'll share what we're holding back. I don't want to hide anything. We are super transparent, and it makes life way more interesting. I don't want to, I can't think of a single project that we're trying to hide here from anybody. Some of them will succeed, some of them won't. But we'll share, this is where we're striving for, and let's do it together.
Okay, I got an honest question for you, Justin. Was there ever a point in time where, for whatever reason, maybe because where you were at in your career, that you weren't I'm not saying you were ever hiding projects, but you didn't show it right away. You sat on it for a little bit, and if so, what was the reasoning behind that?
I did that a little bit with the Batman initially. I did a little bit, for a long time I didn't have any projects that were worth hiding, to be honest with you. But the Batman a little bit, the Pompeii a little while, I just learned that that's really not the way to success in this industry.
Yeah.
There's for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you hide it, what are you really hiding? First of all, you're hiding how a snake looks.
The truth.
Right. Well, you're hiding how a combo looks typically. If someone to say, "Oh, I made this cool combo," I don't want people to know how to make it. Well, that may work in your favor if it's a really easy to make combo, and you just don't want everybody to know because they're going to make it so fast.
Yeah.
But if it's that easy to make, someone's going to make it really soon anyways, and they're going to get credit for it for you. So it's not really in your best interest, really new combos, and specifically good combos, and sharing those combos is the marketing cachet of this world that we're in. If you're not making them and sharing them, then you're not getting the credit. You're not getting the eyeballs. That's what it's all about. You can't advertise your way to the top of this industry. Either you're making cool stuff or you're not. So there's far more incentive to show than to hide, in my opinion, for my business model at least.
And that's why it's been such a shame the world of ball pythons is kind of, shriveled to what it is, where people can't truly share all these amazing comments they make. It goes onto Instagram, you see it for a week or so, and then people don't forget, but it's kind of gone.
Yeah.
Whereas with world of ball pythons, when like 5 years ago, we were endlessly going on there and comparing what can be done, etc. Just to have a central database of all those combos. And
listen, even though there's still much more left on the meat on the bone for the ball python game, we got it pretty good, as far as like, okay, what's next, you know what I mean, and you obsess over it for a day or whatever, but it's on to the next one right after that. That's how quick this game is moving. Like nothing is really celebrated longer than a weekend.
Well, it used to be that we'd have like 4 amazing combos over the course of a season, industry wide, and now we can get one almost every other day during hatching season, at least, right?
Yeah.
It's really awesome. You go on Instagram every day and I get blown away by something I've never seen. What an amazing world.
So I got to ask you right now, Justin, I don't check your MorphMarket as far as availability. Like, no offense, I'm a green tree python guy. I love you. But that's kind of why I go geek on MorphMarket. But like, what do you have on there, Monarch wise? Are you selling a lot of Monarch stuff? Like, are you putting it out there, or is it just not? Are you not at that point yet? Like, I'm curious how much Monarch stuff that.
No, we're trickling them out. We're still in the place where we're keeping most visual cool stuff. We only need so many males, right? But most girls, we're still trying to build the project. So, I don't even know. We have some double heads and some Monarch clown or 2 on there, and yeah, they're moving as well as any other project. I would just say and not to be a downer, but one thing that from a marketing and selling standpoint, this industry suffers from is, I think, just a little like ADHD. Like everybody every day sees a cool new snake they need to buy and a new different project. Oh, Monarch's awesome, but how about this? Oh, okay, but then how about this one? It's a Tornado now. Now it's Cosmos. Like, you have time to pull out your credit card. Someone's already showing you a different cool combo, and I think Monarch is amazing. And that's why I think for people who are patient, that's where the projects really come to them. Because I think people who are jumping around all the time, buying disparate different stuff from all over the place, they have a hard time building a really amazing snowball effect of a really well thought out, well managed, well created, curated project.
Yeah. And so for you guys, Sebastian, with the Monarch stuff that you're producing, what's being held back and what's being let go? Like, how are you guys working that?
Yeah, so I'll go back a couple of steps. So when we found Justin and the Monarch with Justin, and we started producing double heads, we looked across the US and was there Monarch available? There just wasn't. And so we've always been, if we want a snake, we'll hunt it down anywhere in the world. And we just hunted. We hunted and hunted. We went to Europe, and we bought a whole lot of Monarch stuff in from Europe. There's a couple of people out of Sweden, a couple of people out of Belgium, and then a couple of random people. And we bought in, I don't know, $150,000 worth of Monarch stuff over the space of 2 years. And we then got the genetic diversity we wanted and the animals that weren't available here. And so we've started to breed now a lot of those animals, and we're keeping back the double visuals, and we're starting to sell then the combos, a clown head Monarch or Monarch head clown or Monarch head desert ghost, etc. That allows others to start to make those particular projects that are not really available out of the US. Monarch has sold very consistently. The people that we sell to are very passionate. Got a little WhatsApp group that we started as a whole. There's about 15 of us, and we just slowly add into that group. As someone buys Monarch from us, we add to that group. And I love the way everyone's so collaborative and they're so kind to each other, and we're all looking to progress the project forward together. And I don't, at the moment, I'm just seeing people really loving what Monarch could be in the future. We sat down, we planned out the other day, there's 20 years worth of work that we could do in this facility alone, just with Monarch, at least. Right. At least. Even with Ultramel's 20 years ahead of us. We've got 20 years just to catch up with Ultramel. Never mind all the Monarch stuff. We could be, 50 now, we freaking 70 potentially when we
God.
Yeah, I know how freaking sad is that. But there's just a massive amount of stuff that we barely touch the surface. Barely touch. Monarch Clown is, Justin has produced, obviously he's starting to produce some crazy animals now. And I always thought we had the best Monarch collection in America until occasionally Justin shows the Monarch and like, geez.
Everyone thinks they have the best of something until fucking that next Canova video drops.
That guy, that freaking Jeremy over there goes in.
Sure.
Yeah. He loves it.
I know. Yeah, but in answer to your original question, it sells very, very, very solidly for us. You know, we have very late season, so we still got a bit of Monarch stuff from last year, but the previous year sold out 100%, and you know, consistently sells. And we're starting to put more and more codoms into our Monarch stuff, and there's some interesting stuff coming.
So you should talk about the Monarch Monsoon project. I'm so excited about that, and I'll let you talk about it, but I have the perfect name for the project. I've already pre-named it, so you have to. You're forced to use it.
Go on, tell us the name.
I want to call the Monarch Monsoon the Rain, REIGH.
Oh, the rain. Oh,
The rain.
the rain.
Is that too clever? It may be too clever.
I mean,
I like it. I like it. I want to see it. I want to see it under the visual animal.
Yeah,
I just want to
okay.
see that posted. Yeah, I want to see.
So
It's gonna look so good.
So in full transparency, we have double hits that, you know, they're a year or two away, and then, you know, obviously but you know, that is absolutely something we're striving for. But you know, they're really, other than Desert Ghost and Pied and Clown, I don't think any other double recessors have been done with Monarch as far as.
I think so. No.
Right, you seem quiet.
No, hang on.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
No.
I think so. Right.
You know, and I just want to say, when me and Sebastian, we had individual collections, and Sebastian was into. I was just starting into Ultramel. You had those huge Ultramel girls that we still have today,
Which we still have, yeah.
oh, wonderful girls, and
Giant girls.
those are one of the things I was excited to when we merged our collections to be adding to the collection, to my collection. But we both have our strengths and in different areas. And one of Sebastian's strengths is just the people he knows, not only around the industry, but around the world. And I would call Sebastian one day, or we'd meet up in the facility, and I'd say, man, I wish we had, you know, a Monarch clown, you know, to work with. And, you know, a day later, he'd be like, okay, we got a Monarch clown coming in from, you know, from somewhere in Europe. And then or from Austria. And I'd say, well, I wish we had a Monarch Pied though. And then the next day he'd say, well, we got a pair of Monarch Pieds coming in from Belgium, you know, and then I'm like, all right, well, you know, I wish we had a Monarch Desert Ghost that we could start, you know, working with. And then the next day, you know,
they were damn hard to find, just for the record. They were not easy.
He made it seem easy. Like, all right, we got one coming. We got one on the way from Belgium, you know.
And then
I think
I
think you're going too simple there. I think you should be thinking of them far more. You know, I want a Monarch Monsoon Clown Pied Ultramel Sunset. DG.
At sunset.
All right, Sebastian.
What made it worse as well is we were looking for a Monarch Pied, and there was one available, and Justin went and pipped us at it. Not intentionally. We weren't even talking about it.
I didn't know.
And the guy said, I've just sold to someone in the US. Like, oh my word, who have you sold this? I can't tell you. He goes, it was Justin. Oh my God, Justin.
Can you get some history on Monarch? Where'd it come from?
Justin, maybe you.
It popped up here in the US with Tom's friend. I forget his name, unfortunately.
Rance. That's it. Yeah, Rance.
Yes. In Texas, I believe. And then Tom ended up getting his collection. I bought some of the animals and ended up getting the collection, I believe. And then it came up separately in Europe.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I couldn't tell you the originator there.
I've been surprised with what they've been cooking up in Europe. They seem like they're ahead on certain aspects of the project.
Way ahead
on some of them.
They were, but I think with what Justin's producing,
just the fact that they could send us, this is years ago, they were sending us Monarch clowns and Monarch.
They were definitely
Monarch Desert Ghosts.
Justin, give me an honest answer. Okay, have you made a Sunset Monarch yet?
No, I just have the heads. That will be very interesting, though. I think it'll be very interesting.
How far are we at? How far are we from that?
We have yearling multi heads.
Okay,
so a couple years, if odds.
You go. Okay.
I know we know a couple of people in our group are doing it too. Who hopefully beat Justin.
Okay, what do you think is going to turn out better, Sunset Exantic or Sunset Monarch?
I think Exantic. Sorry, that's not really the right answer for this episode.
I think he's wrong.
Yeah, I think it's wrong.
And only because something in me, dude. I have this way of like seeing the future. Sometimes I'm not, and I don't miss Exantic Monarch, or I'm sorry, Exantic Sunset is gonna look like shit. Sorry, Justin. I love you to death, but I think it's gonna look bad, dude.
You know, the Xanthic Ultramel looks amazing, though. The Xanthic Monarch is something I'm very excited about.
I hope I'm wrong, because
I think the Xanthic Sunset will be in the same ecosystem, maybe. But you know, we could be way wrong. We could waste tons of time, or we could be fantastically right. We'll see.
But when I hear this, that's what I say. I say I want to see Xanthic Sunset Monarch. You know, I want to see it all together.
I'm not saying that there's no possibility that Sunset and Xanthic can't get along. I'm sure there could be a possibility, like another combo that changes everything. But I mean, we all know, like, it all depends on the quality of the morph, right? I've seen some pretty brown looking Xanthics, and I've seen some pretty brown Sunsets, like. And I don't know if those two browns will do good together, you know.
Well, just need DG in it then.
DG, there you go.
Everything is one combo away from being fixed.
Yeah. So why don't we kind of talk about maybe some things you guys are, through your experience, personally want to avoid when it comes to Monarch? Like, what combos are you guys are like, maybe we'll do that elsewhere or something like.
The more I work with Monarch, the more I lean towards the dark side. I lean towards the.
What about Pied? Would you put Monarch in Pied?
Yeah, I like Pied. Monarch, I like, because, you know, again, you want to get the contrast in there, and that's, you get nice contrast with Pied. I like Pieds in general. Yeah, it's just a pretty classic ball python morph.
I think bright Pieds sell. And what I mean by that, like, I've seen some crazy Ultramel Pied combos that look freaking ridiculous. And again, Ultramel is known for the bright stuff, right? Just another big question mark, and I'm not trying to come off like it's a Monarch hater. You guys know I love Monarch, but I'm trying to figure out what Monarch's going to do in Pied in the long run, because Pied's that biggest puller at any show, right? Like, if you really want to get the outsider to come look at your table, what is that snake that they normally get drawn to? It's Pied, you know.
So I can respond to that. So I feel the same way you feel, but that also makes me want to do it more, right? Because there's going to be a lot of people that feel the same way you feel. They don't get into it,
or because I'm saying it.
Well, you probably do that too. And then something amazing is going to come out of some combo with Pied and Monarch. Something's going to come out of it. But I do understand what you're saying, and I feel the same way. I'm not in the Pied Monarchs.
Ask us in a year and a half's time, because we've got a whole lot of babies now that are about a year old that have got some crazy codoms in them. And let's see. You know, we can only try. I like Monarch Pied a lot. We've just got one pair of adults. I like it a lot, but we're going to put a whole lot of stuff into it, and let's see.
And we're gonna. That's the fun. You know, we're at the start. We're gonna see what works, what doesn't work. We're gonna try it all though.
Is there anything else other than what we're talking about? Like,
I'm going to be honest and say, and not just, this is not because I'm a Monarch lover. I don't think it is anything really. It's not great at. I mean, even pastel. People hate pastel, but I think they have a super pastel Monarch, super pastel Monarch that looks amazing.
We have one here.
They have one, and it doesn't look. It looks amazing. It doesn't look like super pastel. It's not brown out. It's not dirty. It's amazing.
Like, I have some pastel on my projects that I'm proud of, but I still try to avoid anything super pastel, because normally that's what you'd want to do. But this could be game changer, because, you know, okay, so what is super pastel doing to a Monarch? Is it keeping the contrast and like the pattern, or is it washing it out?
So innately, what a lot of people don't talk about is how Monarch cleans up snakes, very much so. So it looks almost not desert ghostish, but it's in that realm. Super clean, and huge big females, males, they look super clean. They're not dirty at all. So in a way, Monarch also cleans too. So it's saved pastel, like lace. It's like lace to me. It's saved pastel.
I can't think of anything we wouldn't try with Monarch. Is there anything we wouldn't? We just say, like, absolutely, that's a no.
Hypo?
Outside of Sunset?
Hypo's good with Monarch?
I don't know, but I want to find out.
You got any Hypo Monarch stuff over there, Justin?
Not much. No, I've been going more the DG route. Yeah, or some of the pattern stuff.
Now, okay, so that gets me excited, because at the end of the day, right, like, you talk about the potential that's in this hobby. I don't know how long Hypo's been on the up and up, but the fact that we're talking about Monarch and Hypo not being that really concreted yet, that, I mean, if I had Monarch stuff, I'm putting Hypo and all that shit. And until I see reason not to.
Absolutely.
Until you see, but you know what's crazy is, like, I've seen some Ultramel Hypo stuff that I thought were good, but I hear a lot of the people in Ultramel are staying away from Hypo for whatever reason. Not
Well,
everyone.
The brighter the combo, though, the less the hypo shows.
Right.
Hypo looks the best
contradict-
the darker it is.
It's-
Right. You can't make an
Yeah.
albino hypo and have it look good. Right. And Ultramel is, darker than the albino, but still hypo doesn't have as much of an effect as it would on a Monarch or or other combos.
And that's why I have those type of feelings with like Sunset, like okay, we know brighter stuff helps Sunset out for sure, and we know Ultramel Sunset stuff looks great, and like based off what we're seeing statistically, Monarch Sunsets might not look as good as Ultramel Sunsets, but then again, we don't know.
But there's different qualities of Sunset.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but we've seen stuff in Sunset that you're like, I'm never doing that again. You know what I'm saying?
There's a ghost.
No, oh no. Hold on. So he has a point. No, he has a point because I love you, Miguel. But he kept Desert Ghost Sunset from us for a long time. Not a long time, but for months. And when it finally came out, it was like, oh shit. All right, that's all right. But then we know by aging, DG Sunset was getting better with age. For sure.
I'll be honest with you. I have an adult DG Sunset, and it's not better with age. But the adult hypo DG Sunset is one of my prettiest animals in my collection.
What?
So hypo is doing a lot with Sunset.
I've never heard that.
I do think DG and hypo together
are perfect.
are
together.
Perfect way. Perfect snake with the Sunset.
Huh.
One of the things we're working on though is Monarch DG hypo. We were lucky enough to have a DG hypo female that we're able to work into the project, and that is something that we want to find.
We're not far off there.
No.
And I don't know what combo doesn't go well with DG hypo involved. Like it's such a like hand in hand combo, you would say, right, Justin? Like, and it's almost like, I mean, I get it. We can't work everything, but you should try your best to have DG and hypo together. I feel like if you can. Long-term wise, dude, it's, and I one thing that, I thought DG, I'll never forget, after finally learning so much about DG, I thought DG was it. And then I go to your place, Justin, you show me the white lace stuff. And I was like, what the heck is this? And then I realized that white lace, in a sense, I guess, depending on the combo, could look better than DG. But then you also looked better, DG and white lace look perfect together too. So, which I've been wanting to ask you, have you made a white lace DG hypo combo yet?
Yeah, we made a white lace hypo DG clown.
What? Where did you put it up? What vlog was this?
It's 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Yeah.
All right, guys, I quit. I'm having a good night. We're out. What?
Yeah.
3 years ago. Okay. And what's so what's the goal for a snake like that? What direction are you putting such a heavy combo?
I mean, it's all about pattern at that point. You're so bright, you're so crisp at that point. You almost have to throw the heavy pattern into it, right? Everything is like finding what it needs next, and for me it's like color pattern, the perfect balance of it, the perfect contrast of it, and every time you add another gene, you push it one direction or the other, and you have to kind of keep going back and forth, keep it on that little path of best optics, in my opinion.
Did you want to say something, Sebastian?
No, good. I was rescuing that snake crawling out of the tub.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So I got real life here, isn't it?
I want to kind of switch gears here because I definitely want to get some clutch conversation going here. I want to know exactly where we're at with some of the things that are going to be releasing under clutch. Like, what can you give us here, Sebastian?
So let me give the background briefly, and then I'll ask Justin to talk about your vision and what you see is coming. So Justin approached us 3 years ago, and he said, I want to build an incubator page again. Justin's incubator page was legendary. I remember Ralph's incubator page. We always look at that incubator page, and it was very crude.
I'm not too familiar with it. It's an actual page, or like a
website?
No,
so a website.
Okay.
And it showed every clutch.
Oh, what's in the
Ralph showed every cluch and the baby. It was very crude. It was written in basic word press, or what it was at the time, HTML probably, very, very basic website, but you kind of knew what Ralph had coming. And then Justin had that website. His clutch page is going back, I don't know, 4 years, five years, that you built manually, and you could see every parent and every baby, and you could get excited by what Justin was, and he'd put each clutch there, and when it hatched, he'd show the eggs. And people would obsessively look at Justin's website to look at his incubator page, not to see his, all the other stuff on there, but that incubator page, what is coming. It was inspiring. and it broke because there was just too many clutches there, like 2,000 clutches in there, and it
Yeah,
broke.
and technology, it got really outdated.
Yeah.
And
So wait, all that information went away?
No, I have it all, and now it's on Clutch.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he came to me and he said, "Can I rebuild that incubator page? Can my company, because I've got software companies,
wow.
said, can you rebuild the incubator page?" And we said, "Sure." And we started building it, and we realized actually this is really hard to do. And maybe it'd be cool if everybody could have access to an incubator page. So everybody could share. Everyone's got one clutch or 1,000 clutches. You could put it into your website, or you could have a link that anybody could access where you could look at every snake that you produced. I get, how many times do you get somebody who messages you 3 years later, "I bought the foreign snake from you. What are the parents? When was it born?" Et cetera, et cetera. I've got to go back to my spreadsheet. Whereas now you can say they've got the clutch number, the unique clutch number. They can just look it up on that incubator page. So I said to Justin, Justin might come to me, I can't remember the other way around, and said, "Let's build something where everybody can have access to an incubator page and build an incubator page." And then just said, what about? And then 3 years later, we are with Clutch, and Justin's vision has been truly inspiring to me. And we sit on video calls 4 times a week, and we talk about the industry and Clutch, and we run our entire business on Clutch now. And we've got a major advantage of people that are still using spreadsheets and using handwritten stuff. You just cannot. The amount of time it saves us is kind of off the charts. And it's been the amount of thought that Justin's put into it, and Justin's attitude was, I'll let talk Justin about your vision on it, and the amount of thought you put into that. If this works for Justin, it's going to work for everybody else. If it's easy for Justin to use, that has the number of snakes you got, then it's going to work for everybody else. And originally when we kind of started doing Clutch, we spoke to John and Morph. John was worried we were going to build a marketplace. He's like, "That's not our goal. We're not intending. We're not intending to build a marketplace. What we want to do is build." And then I'll let Justin talk about what his vision was, and that vision still remains the same. It's that original vision hasn't changed massively. And I'll let you just talk through how you feel about it today, and maybe what your thoughts were at the time.
Yeah, for me, it started out, of course, as a small thing, and again, it's just like, "Cause what about? And here we are, like $1.4 million later. If I can just break that news, I put so much into this personally, because to me, it's both the thing I wish I always had, and it's like a gift to the industry as well, because I think our industry, it needs a backbone, and not saying Clutch is the only way to do it, but this has gotten so complex. Think about it. We're probably 40 to 50 thousand combos in, and I'm not joking. I really believe it's in that range right now. 40 to 50,000 unique combos made of what really could be, in the, I don't know, I'm not a mathematician, but there's like 150 individual mutations. If you do 150 to 150th power, that's theoretically how far we could go with this. Just crazy numbers of combos. And people's ability to identify, to use shed testing, to have a genetic backbone behind what they do. And so I thought, if we don't build something quick, the whole thing could fall apart of its own. Just there's too many pieces, too much. It's too hard for people to get in, too hard for people to learn, too hard for people to keep track.
Yeah.
And so we built the most insane gene engine into Clutch, and it is so predictive that we have all, in the breeding planner, it can suggest the best males within your collection to optimize your odds. It can predict exactly what every baby in your clutch could be down to the exact percentages. It will not let you make mistakes. It won't let you create a combo that can't exist. In a way, a dummy could use it, but that's what we need. We need all kinds of new dummies in this industry to come join this journey with us. It's not going to be completely overwhelmed by the time they get in.
But there's also dummy lazy people, and the lazy part is what.
Well,
we need
you know
to
what?
figure out.
Fine, they need to be here too. But I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I remember, Justin, when we first started talking about it. I remember, Justin, we first started talking about it, and you said what you want a Clutch to be was for people to be able to not access your brain, but access your knowledge through technology. To almost the technology, you use Clutch now. in a way that works for you and your business, and it kind of replicates your brain now. It allows you to make those decisions. And you were saying that it's almost impossible for you to do pairings now without clutch because it become too complex for you to even get your head around it.
And
we
also
have so many animals, that makes it complicated.
But I mean, we all know once that stuff's fully uploaded on Clutch, how nice it looks. It's like you almost get addicted to it. Always, you want everything to be up there. And then also, we're talking about how easy it is for someone to tap into your work, like just sharing Clutch. Like if they got Clutch, like having all these, like I guess unnecessary interactions for having these questions that if you don't need to, you don't need to ask this if you just go to Clutch and see what's on there. You know what I mean? And
as we started to build it, it was the complexity of it got you think it's easy, and the complexity of it got really fast, really quickly. And the things like, what do we do when an animal's sold? Do we transfer it to the new owner? And then the workflows around that. Does the new owner have to accept it? Does the old owner have to send it over? How does the technology, do we gray out the area that snake in the clutch, and does it become part of that other person's collection? And each problem, as we solved each problem, we realized each time, damn, that's complicated. And we'd have to map out the entire thing. We wanted to make it, to your point, we wanted to make it beautiful. We wanted to make something that worked really, really well. No dead ends or no cliffs, as they call in technology. No cliffs where you reach an end, I don't know what to do. Make it look as beautiful as the animals that we are producing and work as beautifully as it did. And it's been a hard journey. The technology, and we would not have been able to build this without the current technology that's available to us. 6-7 years ago, we would not have been able to build this. What AWS does and the power that AWS has, and our ability to now scale the way we are. We could have 1 million users on Clutch tomorrow.
AWS?
Amazon Web Services. So,
okay, all right.
so it's we could scale tomorrow. If we had 1 million users tomorrow, we'd just scale infinitely.
So I have a question. So how do you plan to incorporate AI into it?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We talk about it a lot. I've got ideas. I don't know. I'm not sure I want to share them now.
Some too.
We have some cool ideas for it. A lot of what I think is AI is actually machine learning. But essentially you could, very easily create a GPT within it where the GPT has been trained on our industry, on the mutations and on the trends and everything. And you could literally chat with the software like it was your friend, but it's a friend who is a genius at ball pythons. But there's also a really cool thing. We have this idea long-term to make what's called a genetic playground, where, that, again, this is an issue where people get started, they get very excited, they buy their first snakes and they're like, what next? And they have all this energy and they're not good enough. They're not big enough yet to come on Trap Talk, and they don't know what to do. And and we would basically want to make a genetic calculator on steroids where you could put in any dam and sire and just play with it. And you put it together, and instead of just showing you what your odds are, right, like most calculators do, you could actually hit generate button and it'll generate a sample 7-egg clutch and what you would have gotten if you had done that pairing. I was like, oh crap, I missed. Hit the button again. Oh crap, I missed again. Hit it again. Crap, I hit the button 48 times and I haven't got the snake I want. Well, now you know how odds work.
How hard it is.
Now you're not going in blind anymore, right? Now you know what one in 1,000 looks like. And to me, that's so much fun to be able to do that. And how cool too is if you could to kind of bring it into some sort of database of all these combos, so that when you do see these, when you do hit that combo, you know what it looks like if it's ever been made. So just, it's really limitless. It's more about a matter of just bringing people on board to join the journey. And that's, to me, what's really excited about it.
So can I be a massive hypocrite? So I said we share openly and honesty everything we do. At Showcase Serpents, we do 100%. I don't want to give it. There's a couple of things we're working on that are freaking crazy cool. And I don't want to share it yet because we're busy working on it. And we put a huge amount of thought and time and effort and money into it.
So I got to fly back out here?
Yes.
And they
release.
And they're freaking hard to do what we're looking to do. And I don't want to answer that question. Ask me the question again in 6 months to a year, just because it's commercially sensitive from a business perspective.
I didn't even ask the question yet.
Yeah,
that was actually my next question.
Yeah.
So it's more so about you said that how y'all kept iterating on what clutch was and then it was advancing, but I never really see like releases these were the new updates that came from Clutch.
Yeah.
Or like some type of Apple release every year
Yeah.
where it's like this big thing.
Because you're not paying attention. We endlessly doing new releases with new features.
On Trap Talk?
Well, no.
So you're not releasing them the right way.
I'm not getting updates.
You should be following us on Instagram. Yeah, no, we do. I mean, we're not doing on Trap Talk, but we do.
Yeah.
You know,
No, we could up our marketing game a lot, big time. That's big time.
It's been totally organic up to now. We haven't done really any marketing whatsoever. It's been
but that was on purpose because you guys are like been working out kinks for this entire time.
Correct.
You guys been putting stuff
Correct.
And now, even if it's perfect, we only have so much time. I use it constantly. We're constantly working on making it better, and I'm constantly breeding snakes. But at some point, we bring in someone who just who spends all day talking about it.
I think a good example of somebody like who recently switched over to Clutch and just can't get enough of it is Miguel. He geeks out over it all the time now. And I got to say, it's like very encouraging to see how even somebody who's already successful doing what he's doing, how much more he knows having something like Clutch will step everything up. And in this game, it's all about finding ways to step up, right, Justin? Like if you could elevate from that average breeder any way possible, this is the time to do it,
Process improvement.
Yeah.
Process improvement. Yeah.
You know what? You want to.
He got so big, he needed it.
Yeah. And that's the problem. A lot of people want to wait till they're so big that they need it, but once you get to that size, it gets hard to onboard everything. It's better to build over time.
That said, y'all did make it easy with being able to upload the spreadsheets.
We make it as easy as we possibly can. We thought really hard. How do we make it easy? And how do you make it easy to download your animals, upload them to MorphMarket as well? We want people to be able to download, click on a button, download, upload to MorphMarket, done. If it takes
you can create 300 ads in MorphMarket in 30 seconds. And we love MorphMarket. We want everyone who's on Clutch to be able to instantly put your animals on MorphMarket, and it works like a charm. It is amazing.
Okay, let's talk about how many ads did you just say right now, Justin? 300?
Well, I said 300, but you could create 1,000 just as fast. It's not a matter of time. It's literally a transfer. Whatever animals you have marked as available on Clutch, one button click, and you paste it into MorphMarket, and all your ads are created instantly. There's no going in there and changing them. It uploads all the weights, all the sexes, all the genes, all the all the fields are completely just done for you. So it's a beautiful thing.
Let's time machine back to 2015. If you had to put in 300 ads on MorphMarket, how long would that take you think?
Well, you either do it through a spreadsheet and you fill out the spreadsheet very tediously, or you do it one at a time, 5 minutes per ad at least.
5 minutes per ad.
It'll take you the whole day. Take you the whole day.
Oh my!
Yeah, and that's a lot of people stay off of MorphMarket just because it just seems like hard work for them. They want to go on there, create an ad, walk over to the tub, get a picture, get away. And reality is all that could be in your system, ready to instantly transfer all at exactly the same moment.
Yeah, convenience is so key.
You've got to automate as much as you possibly can. We want to automate. And you see, to your point, process. We succeed here at Showcase. I succeed in my job, software development. My team is all about process. How can we repeat process and automate? This is where AI is coming in more and more and more. But yeah, we can't avoid manual repetitive tasks. I mean, cleaning, we've still got to clean racks. AI is never going to clean our racks for us, but it's going to save so much time elsewhere.
It can tell you how to clean them better and faster, more efficient.
The Tesla robot will clean it for you, though.
Yeah.
Can't say Tesla.
Yeah, that's a dirty word. Yeah, please.
Lost 5 viewers for saying Tesla.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Justin.
Thanks, Justin. Okay, well, you knew this question was going to come, Justin, because it's like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not Mr. Clutch aggressive user right now because you guys don't have it for green tree pythons.
That is fair.
Yes.
So where are we at where we could get other species, colubrids, chondros, emeralds, or is that something that you guys have to do one at a time? Like how's that going to be in the field?
The challenge is that we've created such a high standard with the ball pythons. I've literally just poured everything into being just right for the ball pythons. And the main component is that gene engine. Again, that gene engine is so complex and so specific and so accurate to the current world of ball pythons. Every species has its own completely different, more, mutation based, combo based, all the interactions are all different. And so we want to be able to make sure that when we create these other species, that it has exactly that same really high level experience, which means we're going to have to, bring in experts for these other species, because, maybe you can come in for green trees, man. So that it's not just, oh, we're going to keep your collection in a database. Like that's the smallest part of what we do, and we want it to be amazing for retics, for everything. And it's just going to take some time. Honestly, I think according to our current roadmap, back me up, Sebastian. I think when we met in Cape Town just recently, we roadmapped to the end of the year for features, and then I think we're at a stage where we look really hard at adding the next species.
That's spot on. And I am asked 3 times a week, when are we going to add green tree pythons, etc.?
Because I mean, coming from that community and that demographic of breeders, they take the best documentations out of, I think, at anyone. The lineage charts, like I'm talking about before social media got popular. There's been lineage charts that go back to like the 90s and 80s. You know what I'm saying?
I love that, and that is what Clutch is absolutely nails.
That's what it's for.
The hereditary. It looks. Absolutely.
So I will say this: once that happens, just get ready for a huge wave of people to jump on Clutch.
There'll be at least a dozen breeders in the United States who green trees will come on.
A dozen? Wow. Well, because listen, Clutch is also for up and coming breeders too. Like you don't need to be a full-on breeder to use Clutch, right? Like what if you have a collection that's all young and growing up? You could still input all that stuff as soon as you buy it.
Oh no, it's still great. No, it's still great. And again, it allows you to keep all your data, and it's so nice to just slowly build it over time, right? Every time you hatch a clutch on Clutch, it automatically creates all the babies, creates all the connections. And when those animals have babies, it creates all this connection. You have this web, we actually got our visualization, I think, from ancestry.com. I don't know if you remember, we were researching how do we show really complex lineages, and Ancestry.com has this crazy stuff. We're like, oh, we gotta have this for snakes. Gotta have this for snakes.
And this is where again it gets so damn complex. Ancestry.com is most parents have 2 kids. The spider web, once you get 8, 9, 10, 12 babies and their babies and their babies, and like all of a sudden, oh my word. And so
right. My most prolific male, I think, has over 500 offspring in Clutch now. And you can look at the size of that web, and then every so often, he'll breed back to one of his great granddaughters or something. And these trees are the branches are starting to meld together a little bit. So yeah, it's quite a complex visualization.
So speaking about levels of breeders, I think you've gotten this question before. Do y'all plan on having a 3rd tier, like in the middle tier? Because you have keeper, then breeder, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And I'll say that I just joined Clutch. I wasn't able to get the discount I was waiting for, so I just went ahead and paid. And then I did. I just went ahead and paid. So I pay for Clutch. And it is amazing. I'm still waiting for the discount though.
Well, my kids are eating tonight because of you, man. Thank you.
But will there be like a middle tier of some sort?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We've actually only just recently launched the lower tier, the keeper tier, what's the lower tier called again? The
keeper.
Yeah, the keeper.
There's keeper, and breeder. Yeah.
I care about you sometimes, not when you got an attitude like you got tonight, but mostly. So we kind of grappled with this a lot, and our UX UI team, user interface, user experience team, they've been lobbying for a long time to say we need one other tier, because we only had one tier, $29 each per month, and they've been lobbying saying we need a tier that has fewer features but is $9 a month that an early breeder and early keeper snakes can get onto. And we can say no, and then lobby just like crazy. And then Justin, you started to think that actually does really make sense. And so we've only very recent, in the last 4 months, actually got that second tier. And so I'm not sure at the moment there's a need for a 3rd tier yet until we add a whole lot more features. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think honestly, if we do a new tier, I want it to be a tier on the next level, with using like the HubSpot integration and some of the sales platform stuff, the really hardcore stuff that I'm starting to use. I want to eventually offer that in the next tier up.
I have a crazy idea. Just because, everyone, the more you could show somebody, the better, right? Let's say, for instance, Justin, how many clutches in your incubator right now, Justin?
I have to check. Hold on, I'll tell you.
I mean, I know the answers a lot.
That was cool little program.
So what if
Okay.
there's this? Yeah, go ahead. How many?
No, go ahead. I'm pulling it up here. So okay, so clutches. I have a total incubating clutches of 98.
No, you have 98 clutches. Let's just say there's that one clutch that all your clutch followers or can't wait, and there's some sort of like a live, like you could somehow have them look at the clutch from the app. Does that make sense? Like
a live stream,
like a live stream in a sense, but it's just all it is just the eggs. Like meaning like let's just say it's like day 50, or you're waiting for a pip or something, but like having people just did they pip yet? Did they pip yet? But like giving them like an actual streaming insight.
You did that. You did that a few years ago. You had it on your.
I did that.
You had that.
I did that for a while, but it'd be cool if you could have. It'd be cool if you have that within clutch. That'd be really awesome.
So wait, you already had something? You had something called Clutch Cam?
Yeah, I did that for years, where I just had a webcam in my incubator, and then every week I would move a different clutch under the webcam, and it was live on my side all the time. And I thought nobody was watching because I didn't have any counts on it or anything. But then at a show, people would come up and be like, "I saw this baby take its first breath, and it changed my life." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I did not realize."
There's people. We got to understand how many people in this hobby have not had their first clutch yet.
Yeah,
they've never seen a pip, and I can't tell you how many times I would just watch the same YouTube video, and just because I'm like, I can't wait. And so having something more live time, like instead of going back to a YouTube video, you go to clutch, and this clutch is about to be due, and it's not yet, and you're just staring and then you could be that guy who like, dude, I was watching your clutch on clutch when that snake pipped. I was there. And then I bought something from that clutch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I watched it all the time. Until I went, and then it wouldn't load, and I was upset. You can watch it too?
Oh, absolutely. And Justin's old website, his old incubator, whenever we bought an animal, whenever we bought a new breeder or something from Justin, I would go and even, especially when we bought ones that were already a couple years old, I would go back and try to find it. Yeah. I'd go back and it's 2019. I'll go back and then I found it. Yep. And then I'd go back another level, the parents, where the parents produced. Now, I love the lineage. I love being able to trace the lineage back.
I think one thing that I started geeking out in the chondro game is you're raising up a snake and you're wondering, what do these siblings look like? Like, what do their clutch mates look like, and having something to go back just to compare, or like, for instance, if you have something that comes out like, whoa, what is that? I wasn't expecting that out of this clutch. And then you go back to see if maybe one of their clutch mates looked like that, or was there a het that threw that kind of pattern? But I don't know, you got just more geeking out to do. You know what I mean? Like, and people just want, like, this is probably the most healthy addiction you could have, because the deeper you go, the more ways you find out to geek out over more and more stuff. And we're at a point in this hobby where, dude, go at it wherever you want to start. You could just, you could have no life if you really want. You know what I mean?
Oh, especially and when you buy something and you spend years working on it, and then it produces something, and you're like, there's something weird about that baby. There's something, and then you go into the technical
maybe mode. A dinker. Maybe there's a dinker in there somehow. Yeah.
It's definitely going to be useful with now. I think one of the things that a lot of breeders doing now is like the line breeding. Where people are really paying attention to the quality of a specific gene, and trying to keep that specific quality going throughout their line, much like what Ozzy did.
I do that with hypo. Like hypos,
exactly.
You got to do that with certain genetics.
And I think something like this would definitely give you a super advantage to maintain something like that, because without a program like Clutch and you trying to maintain a lineage like that, especially when you're selling things and stuff like that, you would have to be very serious with your data keeping.
Yeah.
I got a question. He just brought up a question. So you said that y'all had to find a way to, if you sell something, transfer it to another person to Clutch.
We're trying to find a way. We haven't done that yet.
Okay.
That's something we need to.
What he just said made me think about that, because if somebody else bought something off of yours and they produced it, it's that same line. So if I needed a male and I couldn't find a male, but I know he had that line
Yeah.
and he had the metal I need that I can keep that same lineage. You know what I mean? That's what he just made me think about that.
Absolutely correct.
And how are you going to be an Aussie in today's day without having something like Clutch?
You
You're not. It's impossible.
can't.
We talked about earlier, like the whole behind the scenes, like there's no way Showcase could be Showcase with you, Adam, like by yourself, because this guy is pushing everything, and you guys have your strengths. You know what I'm saying? And so. And to do
for
that,
me, like my staff are all involved, right? All my staff are all on the same database, talking to the same customers with the same data set, like the same source of truth in front of them. Whether it's, Summer says, "Hey, Chase, we see we have this one in Clutch. We see we have 2 clutches in the incubator from this. I'm going to tell the customer this." Blank, and Chase is like, "Yeah, here's a picture of it. Scan the QR code." We can all work together as a team, which is really, really cool.
I also want to give flowers to the whole team over at Canova. Probably one of the most well-oiled machines ran I've ever seen in any facility. So shout to Summer, shout to Chase, Holly, right? That's Chase's sister, Holly.
Molly.
Sorry, Molly. Molly's awesome. I had a fun time with her at Tinley and the whole group. But man, Justin, I gotta tell you, after leaving, like normally when I visit your place, I'm thinking about the combo that was just like I couldn't get over. But this time it was thinking about like how well of a team that you have. You know what I mean? And also you could owe so much of your success to your team. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah, couldn't do anything without them, and they're just wonderful people. Aside from just great workers and everything, they're amazing people to hang out with every day. Like I get to go out and work with all my friends all the time. It's pretty awesome.
How's that comedy club?
Dude, that was a story.
Did you see the shirt he got?
Oh yeah, I love that shirt. The plan is we're all going to go back and we're all going to get up. The whole team, the whole Canova and Showcase Serpent team is going to go there next year at Tinley and stand up and just all stand up one at a time and tell our best joke.
So we've all
It'd be great.
So what we've done is we've committed to each other. We're going to go back. It may not be that club. We're going to find a club. It may be that club. And we're each going to do 2 minutes of stand-up. We've all committed.
You've seen Justin stand up, right?
I'm going first.
You go first.
I got to go first.
Justin, how come I feel like I'm one of the only people who've seen you do your stand-up that one time? I bring it up and people are like, "What? Justin did that?" I'm like, "Yeah, he did."
Hey, it's on the channel. Yeah,
killed it.
It was on his channel.
Yeah, it's on his channel, right? Yeah, that was epic.
It wasn't that great.
Hey, you know what? There's always a heckler in every crowd. We found it.
So come out with us in October. Come out.
I'll be there.
Will you go on stage too? Will you commit?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
let's. Oh my God, yeah, for sure.
Is there any chance you'll go on stage?
He has to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I got you back, Adam. Seriously, Adam? I got you back, Adam.
Seriously. We hold each other accountable. I will find the place. I'll book it for 10 of us, and everyone can welcome to come. We each do at least 1 minute. 1 minute. And I tell you what, some of the comedy was very good. Some of it was not. We can beat that. We can beat that.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, half the battle is getting up there.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
I'll just add one more point to what Justin said earlier about his team, and I'll add what a wonderfully kind and nice team he has. But I talked to my team outside of Showcase Serpents about how 1 + 1 equals 3. How do you make 1 + 1 equals 3? And that truly is our strength. And I tease at him, but a number of times he texts me at 2:00 in the morning and said, "Just had an amazing frozen thawed feeding. I've fed 300 rats." And that's Adam's beautiful strength. Adam can get a ball python to eat like no offense, Justin, but like no man I've ever known. I do what I do.
He's feeding at 2:00 in the morning.
Relentless. And I'm reasonably good at what I do. And if I was to do your job, I'd really struggle. I could do it. If you do my job, you could do it, but you'd really struggle. And we complement each other. And I trust Adam with my life, like literally with my life. And I know, my grandmother always used to say that her lawyer said to her, he can protect her from anything in the world other than a business partner.
Yeah.
And I will,
it's true.
There's no way you would ever screw me over, and I would never screw you over. It doesn't mean we don't have robust debates around things, but we always find a way forward and we always agree.
And Justin, for the decades that you've been in this hobby, how many of the opposite scenarios have you heard about the business partnership not working out? Actually, some people getting out of the game because how terrible the partnership was. Like this, this can happen, but it's not
going
common.
south. Yeah, usually it's breeder loans going south because typically your business partner in this business is your wife. So they're called divorces. And yeah, divorces have taken out a lot of good men and women in this industry.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, let me ask you this though. I mean, even when it comes to you having to hire somebody that you trust in your own facility, like, how do you, like, I mean, did you go through a lot of bad apples, Justin, or did you just get lucky? Like,
I did go through, I probably went through 6 or 7 people before I found Chase. It's a combination. There's a lot of growing pains with the small business because you can't afford to buy great help, to hire great people initially, and it's hard to give people full-time hours when you're small, and so it's hard to attract a really good candidate at first, and so you have to go through some bad ones almost inevitably through those growing pains, and the key to fixing that is not being a hands-off boss. You got to literally be there all the time. Nothing can go wrong because you are part of whatever's happening that day at all times,
Right.
But we went through a lot of bad people, and eventually we got to the place where we could actually hire someone full-time, and I found Chase, and then Chase came on, and then we got a new facility, and then suddenly we had a good work environment. Then we suddenly had a reputation that people wanted to be a part of, and the whole thing starts to take on a life of its own, right? And you start to be able to attract good people. It's hard at first, but all you got to do, you just have to do it. You just have to start going through that process.
How do you trust this guy right here, Adam? I mean, Clarence, why don't you break down what you do in this building, like your business in here and whatnot?
So I guess you would describe me somewhat as like a facility manager.
Okay.
Right. So I just make sure that anything that could go wrong when nobody's paying attention don't go wrong.
Right.
Anything that needs to be done. Sometimes these two guys are super busy and it's something that needs to be done. Well, I fill in that blank.
How are you able to connect with these guys? How'd you link up with them?
So I met Sebastian first. We both live up in Maryland.
Okay.
And Sebastian introduced me to Adam.
Okay.
And then me and Adam became hella tight. And
that's what's up.
Now, yeah, we like three's a company now, So
and I think you reached out on MorphMarket to buy a snake from us originally.
Yeah.
And then we just became friends. We just started chatting and we became friends.
Yeah. So I guess I could tell this story now.
Yeah. Well,
wait,
it's not the
oil wrestling. No, the truth comes.
Well, actually, yeah. Actually, it started from something I learned from Justin. Early in me starting with this, I watched a ton of Justin videos, and one thing that he spoke about that stuck out to me, and like kind of in my own words, is he was saying that anyone has the potential to become successful in this, but it's very much dependent on how much tenacity you have. Can you endure all the things that life is going to throw at you between now and your success? Right. And that is generally a lot of things that life throw at you that people can't endure, that gets them out of it. Right. And well, in my case, life threw everything at me in the beginning. Like my first 2 years, life threw every possible difficult challenge. I was in the hospital, almost died. I lost everything. Sebastian sold me 3 snakes, so my wife left me.
Wait, is that a true story?
True story.
She dipped out?
True story.
Oh,
well,
wow.
When I started feeling
it was the best thing I ever did for you.
Yeah, exactly. And you're a favor.
And you never even said thank you.
Yeah.
You got some worried husbands out there like, oh my God, Gino, I need to stop buying snakes.
No. But the thing was though, it actually built my confidence in the end. Because I felt like, well, hell, I already been through the worst. Anything happen now, I'm pretty sure I can get through it. So, I got a good shot at this success. Right. But no, these guys for me, I can't even say enough about the opportunities they've given me and stuff like that, man. But they've been true good friends to me, and I mean, we definitely come from different backgrounds. I'm from Baltimore City. Right. And the opportunity to work with them, and I come from the hood, how it is, I come from street, sure enough, and so this is sure enough like an opportunity for me to do something totally different with my life. And plus, it's an opportunity for do something that I wanted to do since childhood. So, and rarely do any person in life ever actually get a chance to do something that they wanted to do as a child. That thing that they'd be like, when I grow up, I want to do this.
Yeah.
You know, not many of us actually grow up and do it.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm actually grown and doing what I wanted to do, you know, it makes me extra thankful to these guys for opening that door up, you know, man, because they opened some doors for me.
That's like the world. That's kind of like the thing of the reptile hobby. It opens up so many doors, you would say, right, Justin? Like going back to just like, you know, me knowing you, me knowing these guys now, like take away the snakes, I wouldn't be here. This wouldn't even be a thing right now at all. Like, what would we have in common if it wasn't reptiles? I mean, we have stuff in common, but like, what brings us together? And it's the reptiles, what brings all this together, you know?
Yeah, we're all bonded by this, you know, really weird obsession that we have, and you know that's amazing. We're all, and two, you know, I think this industry kind of brings together the misfits of the world. You know, that we like something weird. We're a little misunderstood, and here we are together. So it's an incredible network worldwide too. You know, I'm going to Japan next week, and I can't wait to see my friends over there. You know, and we got friends in South Africa and friends in Europe, and like all because of snakes. That's pretty crazy.
And I'm sure you guys all have heard this, and I've heard this saying for years now. And I've always felt like not that the people I looked up to in life when I was first growing up were bad people. They just weren't the right people I should be like looking after. And this is the first place where, you know, you hear that saying, you are who you hang around with. And like, I look around who my closest people are in here, and I these are all people I can't wait to be in life, or I'm inspired to be like in life. And I feel like to Clarence's point, like if you're in this hobby and something crazy in life happens to you, like your support system around you gets you through it, man. Yeah, and I've been through some crazy shit, like to where, man, like I have the solid like group of friends that give me they just know the right things to say to me to get my head out of whatever gutter I'm in. Because, you know, you said sometimes you can't help but to go through shit in life, and it does take a toll on your mental state, and you also lose track of what the goal is sometimes. But then when you have those people to lean on, and you know, like the fact that you're like this close to these people, bro, like this is gonna definitely determine your longevity in the game, because you can't do it without these people. Like we need, like Justin needs his own customers to buy snakes from, and all sorts of stuff. Like there's so many things that we need from each other. Where I mean, and it's a beautiful place too, because like here we are finally in a setting where us working together is like the goal. Like it's not about I mean, here I get it. Like you want to have your projects be your thing, but at the end of the day, what feeds other people feeds you. You know what I'm saying? And it's stuff that you could be proud of, but then when someone else produces it and it came from something that they bought from you, how are you not proud of that? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So say something.
I would say it's real important. Just spinning off what you're saying, having a team. It's a saying. You know, you can't compete by yourself, because you're competing against teams. Right. You know, so you know it's very important to build a network, especially if you want to be successful at what you're doing. It's very important to build a network with people who are successful at what it is you're trying to achieve, because there's a lot to learn there.
Yeah, I'll add a point about Clarence as well. I can't imagine it. I can't remember a time pre-Clarence. You know, we were doing all the cleaning, all the feeding, all the ultrasound, everything we do. You and I were doing together.
Well, we're also
growing the collection, and both got very intense full-time jobs and young families.
Yeah,
and stuff was slipping. You know, we tried not to, but stuff was slipping, staying up until 3 o'clock in the morning endlessly. And now with Clarence, knowing that a multitude of things are being taken care of by somebody within the team, and we can then focus on growing the business and a whole lot of other things that were not getting the attention that they deserved. Now, all of a sudden, it makes a big difference. First, the quality of all of our lives, and secondly, the quality of the business. And you know, I can't imagine a time pre-Clarence. You know, BC before Clarence.
I feel like maybe Justin went through something similar, where as the business grows, you realize you got to bring more people in, right? You know, and I think Clarence on the flip side was looking for knowledge, and he became an intern. You know, we were talking, we were colleagues talking snakes and everything.
Yeah.
And then there was an opportunity where we needed an intern. And Clarence was able to.
It's like apprenticeship.
But then, you know, it becomes a part of the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody likes talking snakes like Clarence. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, but you know, I think that's kind of like why we, you know, I mean, seeing people like Clarence, his energy just feeds right back up to us, you know, because we remember that time when we were just so brand new into a facility. And that's the thing, right? Like we kind of go back to Clutch. Like, do you want to know one thing that I never hear people geek out over, or maybe they do, but they don't talk about it, is the ball python calculator. Like that was the thing that I could not stop using when I first came into the hobby. Yes. But now we're at the place where, I mean, if you want to look what's insane, you just look at Justin's vlog or whoever's putting it out there. But, you know, I feel like Clutch could bring back that excitement, like that whole, like, you know what I mean? Like why you want to use something to figure something out versus just looking at someone's post, you know?
We talk about it a lot, actually. Yeah.
So I'm on point here. When I'm
saying. No, you're absolutely on point.
But even Word of Ball Python, what's the one where you can go on and see if it's been made?
Yeah.
But it's like so behind.
Yeah, that's
that's what
I was talking about earlier. That you know, over the last 4 years, people haven't been able to upload those amazing. You know, they haven't got the credit. They produced the first combo, and they don't get the credit any longer. It's not immortalized any longer. It appears on Instagram, it disappears within a week. Whereas World of Warcraft, you used to immortalize it. Whereas now there's no way of immortalizing it, which, you know, is going to change. No doubt someone's going to come up with something that's going to change that. But, you know, it's to your point, it's so fleeting. It's there for a couple of days, and it doesn't need to be. Right. It should be immortalized. And, you know, it's part of your reputation. You know, the seven projects that you've produced, that defines you. Just like, you know, Monarch doesn't quite define us, but it's a big part of what we do. And I want to immortalize the projects we're doing.
And you know, going back to how like we all need each other, like there's people out there who just happen to just obsess over other people's breeding projects because they want that specific snake.
Yes.
And when they could see it before it's posted on an Instagram post or like to the public, like getting that behind the scenes that you're not gonna be able to get anywhere else. I mean, I feel like in a game like the ball python games at right now, we need to keep that excitement on fire. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And what I mean by that is like, not that it's not exciting right now. We got people putting out stuff that's amazing, but what about the person who's not there yet? Like, what about that person who's just like, I've got 2 more years till I could breed, but I just spent $100K, but you know, now what? Like, you know, I, for instance, I'll never forget what got me to want to spend more money on snakes was the ball python calculator. Yeah. Like the more I would keep seeing like, wait, okay, all I need is that snake and I can make that. Are you kidding me? Like you just kind of have to bring it back to that. And I feel like what could do that is Clutch. I really do.
Yeah. I think, I mean, Justin, a couple of features that are coming out at the moment. We've been talking for ages about putting languages on Clutch. You know, English, it's hard for Japanese users and Spanish users. Yeah. And, you know,
maybe AI can help with that. Can AI just like,
it can.
So everybody always, it's very easy. It's always
it's not easy.
It's just we click a button and it doesn't. But you know, even in Japan, they've got different names for the genes as well. So it's not
in their own characters. Yeah.
In their own characters. Yeah, so we are releasing Spanish very, very shortly, and it's, you know, but you got to translate everything, and you got to be thoughtful about it too, you know. And so there's a lot of users across the world where there's, you know, the South Korean coming, there's Japanese coming, there's Spanish coming, and you know, after that, who knows? And there's a whole ton of other features. We've got a backlog. We could do 10 years worth of work, you know. And
so give us one. You got to give us one.
I don't know. Justin, I mean,
I was just pulling it, trying to pull it up here as we were talking here. Our spreadsheet with all the exclusive backlog stuff. Yeah, a lot of it is honestly just adding to the feature list for all the existing things. We're going to make really amazing dashboards and everything to help you track, you know, all your available animals, all your sold animals by year. And really kind of give an idea of the velocity of your business. You know, we want to make it a business tool, not just collection management. I want to be able to tell you, you know, where your projects are weak, or if you're too strong, you have too many yellow bellies in something, you're gonna have too many bad interactions. I want it to be able to have predictive analytics for all this stuff, and that's all the stuff I want. You know, me personally, and it's kind of very selfishly driven. I want to make the thing that I think the industry needs forever, and then let everybody, you know, have it.
That's from a business perspective. So I mean, I can imagine that's what your goal would be. You want to ask a question?
Go ahead. And then
Go ahead.
well, jump back on the business perspective. Is it something in the future possible where Clutch will also track sales, as far as prices and everything, to develop a type of spreadsheet for taxation for those that got LLCs and so on?
No, that part's not hard. But what would be hard but be amazing is if it could predict pricing. And so it obviously you want to price your own animals, but it could give you a suggestion based on what it sees in MorphMarket. Of course, we're not going to have those analytics. MorphMarket will. But theoretically, MorphMarket's a public site. It could, say, hey, there's 4 of these listed on MorphMarket right now, and the price range is $5,000 to $7,000, or what I'm saying. It gives you a basis to allow people to, again, I think pricing is the hardest thing that most ball python owners do. It's really hard, especially if you have something that's really unique. But again, it's really endless. But it's just one step at a time, and it's a really, really exciting. MJ, you were here. You saw the garage project I have here and everything. I love building stuff so much. Love building stuff, and to me, walking in and having this cool space is not nearly as fun as building it. And I feel the same way about Clutch.
The whole process,
building it. Yeah.
But it's also kind of like okay, yeah, I mean, we also love seeing that snake come out the egg, but it's also like that saying, it's all about the journey. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it also is so true, because you think about all the anticipation, all the thoughts, all the like what ifs to get to that moment, and that moment's a beautiful moment. But man, everything leading up to that was the real gift. I feel like, and I feel like that's what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I will say, building our facility, I was relieved when it was done. It was a long journey. This was our first proper facility that we've ever built, and we went down to Justin, and he shared everything he did, and you shared openly, honestly, the mistakes you made. And I was relieved, like when the snakes were in, and we had a really great season last year, because everything was so stable and everything worked. And I didn't love the journey of building this facility.
My book is open, so I'm the project manager. That's what I do. So next time, just call me. I'll take care of it.
I can't wait to build a new one. I love mine. I can't wait to build a new one, because the building is the fun part.
Wait. So what are you going to build next?
I just a better one. I have all these ideas of how it could be better, but the problem is I already have one, so I got to get rid of it somehow.
I do want to answer this super chat question, and I hope I'm reading this right. But a Heart of the Python says, do any of you anticipate the industry ever developing a competitive arena similar to those found in other animal breeding sectors?
Like what? Like the Westminster Dog Show?
Yeah, like a dog show.
They do that in Asia, don't they?
They do have something. Yeah. Okay. So that's what she means by that.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a good question. Do you ever feel like we could ever have something like that, where it's just all about the display of that specific morph or whatever, and like people vote for it, or I don't know how they do it over there. You would have a better.
I think idea. So. I if I was to put my predicting hat on, I would say that our industry would have to go the way of dogs and horses and cats in order to get there. And by the way of, I mean, right now our industry is based on novelty. Essentially, we're all excited to see what can be. That's what drives prices. In the end, it's the demand of the market, but it's up high. It's all about, how can we get to the next stage? How can we see what's new? It's very, very exciting. Once that stabilizes to the point where innovation is not the driving force, then lineage and pattern and quality and all that stuff takes over in place of it, which is what's happened in other animals. And so, yeah, it might happen to us eventually. Again, we can't really run out of combos. It's like statistically impossible because of how many mutations there are. However, we can potentially run out of combos that we're interested in eventually.
That was a good question.
They all get so good eventually that it's the novelty wears off a little bit.
All right, we're going to polish this episode off with this wrap-up topic, and I want you to sit in on this one, Justin, because you obviously have tons of experience, and we all know with growth, this is what a lot of people have to do at some point, and that's either remodel their room or expand or do something where, yeah, now it's not about buying snakes, it's about buying something better for your snakes. I'm in this really awesome, cool, which was a basement, right, Adam? You want to give them this was a basement that you turned into. Can you explain what this was?
Yeah, I mean, we were in our old place. We were retrofitting as we went. As we ran into a problem, we tried to address it.
Right.
But it's much more difficult than building something to spec. Building something, purpose building it, and that's what we wanted to do with the new facility. We wanted to have the electrical done ahead of time, have the ventilation in, have the dedicated HVAC, and that's what we ended up with our lessons learned. At our old facility, we decided these are the things we're gonna address before we move in. And I think that's what Sebastian was saying. It ended up being no matter how carefully you plan, nothing goes perfectly according to plan, and things go off the rails a little bit. But it took a little while. It took some lessons learned, but we got there. We finally, we got this place the way we wanted it, the way we needed it for the animals.
Like every good successful project, it took twice as long and 100% more money than we expected, and we weren't talking to our contractor by the end of it, and that's a sign of a successful project. Yeah.
and Justin, I got to ask you, Justin. I mean, you've done multiple buildings, obviously, at this point. What are some things that you could give advice to for anyone out there who's about to tackle such a big project, never done it before? Like just maybe some big things that they could avoid long-term wise, like, with any issues when it comes to creating your own custom reptile room.
Yeah, for me, I think I waited a long time because when you do it, you want to do it right as possible. And so you don't want to, my first building was pretty bad. It was like one of those Home Depot buildings. You buy it off their lot, and they pulled it onto my property, right? And then we insulated it and everything. And all my first videos and everything were out of one of those buildings. But we stayed in that building for a lot longer than I had to, because I did not want to half-ass the next one. I want to do the next one better, and ended up half-assing it as anyways. But it was significant upgrade. But then I just learned so many lessons. Life is all about iteration. Whether it be ball pythons, whether it be clutch or your buildings or your employees. It's just about learning the lessons, and you cannot skip it, the process. So, I mean, Sebastian, I was at Sebastian's first facility, a long time ago. It was pretty rough compared to what you had here, but you learn all the lessons. So I would just say over-engineer. You can't really insure your ball pythons that well. It's really hard to find someone to insure them, and so you provide your own insurance by over-engineering your electrical, making sure there's nothing that's going to cause a fire. As fire is your biggest thing. Making sure the practical things of we plotted out how many steps it was to the sink from any given rack. And in fact, when I went over there and helped you, Sebastian, lay that place out, it was like, okay, where is the hatchling rack in relationship to the incubator? Where's the incubator in relationship to the moms who lay eggs? Where's the sink in relationship to the main part of the cleaning? How many steps is it going to take to go back and forth? You need another sink over here in order, because in the end, you want to make your work a pleasure. You want to make it easy. You want to make it flow and not destroy your love for the work you're doing.
You know how bad I want multiple sinks in my fucking room, man?
Yeah,
it's
key,
dude. I mean, and mind you, you work with what you can work with, and I got a sink in my room, but it's on a certain part of the room. It's not where, and my room's divided, so I already know I could use two sinks, but I mean, I didn't really thoroughly know that until my room was already made, and I just realized I'm taking a lot of steps to change these damn waters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and a sink takes the place of where a rack could be, so it's a hard decision to make as well.
Yeah.
The plumbing for these two sinks here, it was easier to build a space shuttle than to get the plumbing, the plumbing for these sinks. It was crazy.
We didn't want pumps. We wanted everything gravity, for the drains and everything, and it was just trying to make it work.
And I'll just add, as well. When I first visited Justin, it was a shed in his backyard. That's what it was. He was very good at disguising it when it came to social media, etc.
Right.
But it was a shed, 100%. And I'll just add a couple of points here. I think there are many things we would have changed with what we did, but we spoke to a lot of people that had built facilities and asked them what they did well and what they did badly. And more importantly, what did they do badly? What would they have done differently?
Right.
And we were lucky to be able to stand on the shoulders of many others who'd done it much better than us before.
We were able to learn from other people's mistakes.
Very much so.
And that helped us a lot. And like Justin was saying, first and foremost, fire safety, make sure your electrical's on point, make sure your racks have dedicated outlets. And then I mean, something we struggled with in our old place was ventilation as well. CO2 levels, if you're working in basements, keep an eye on your radon. You and your animals are spending significant time in this space. Make sure it's safe in every way. Make sure your humidity, stuff like that. Dedicated HVAC is something that we really wanted. It was a pain, but it was worth it in the end. The extra ventilation.
How do you check CO2 levels? I'm sorry, I've never.
Oh yeah, I mean, and nothing special. Off the shelf stuff off Amazon. Air quality sensors, that kind of stuff. They have pretty good stuff
it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
We keep track of air quality in the facility and specifically in the incubator to try to keep an eye on everything. Nowadays, they have internet monitored temperature sensors. You keep an eye on the temperature in your facility, in your incubator.
I want to show this off, right? This is.
That's the one we use. If it goes outside, you can set a temperature range. If it goes outside of that range, it will notify you via text, via email. It'll make sure that something's not right, whether it's in your incubator, in your facility, even in our freezer. We feed a lot of frozen thawed. We have literally thousands of dollars worth of frozen thawed in our freezer. We want to know if there's any issue that would cause the temperature to go up, and it's get ahead of that before you end up losing a lot of money. But it was things that were a little bit difficult, but worth it, I think, in the end.
So I have not personal, but a serious question. If y'all willing to share, how much did it cost to build this facility? Was it worth it? How much did it cost?
What our original, 75 to 80.
Since it was, I think he said clutch was 1.4. Just to give people a perspective of how much money people invest into these things.
Yeah,
right?
I sat down and worked when we've got a whole budget. I think by the time we were done, it was $300K.
Jesus.
I'm not going to ask you.
It probably wasn't
Justin,
quite that, but
Justin looking. I'm not going to ask you.
Yeah, but it was close to that. By the time we're done, so we've got solar panels on the roof, we've got batteries if there's power outlet. We had to dig up. There was a tiled floor. We had to dig up the tile floor. We put this floor down. We had to get basically commercial quality HVAC in, which was really expensive. We upgraded all the power throughout the entire house. The plumbing, as I said, was a real challenge. All the lighting, everything
Putting
else.
sinks where there wasn't originally sinks.
There's
a lot of walls being broken out. I think 20 new dedicated outlets in the space, which meant from the basement to the electrical box, had to tear everything apart. The ventilation, not only for a dedicated we put a new dedicated HVAC in, we put a new ventilation system in that cycles the air, which all is a lot of ducting all over the house that tear that apart. So it was, I think if we were able to find an unfinished basement, it would have been easier, a little bit less expensive. But North Virginia, Washington DC area housing market, we took what we could.
Crazy.
We ended up with a finished basement that we had to unfinish and then finish again. So that added to a lot of the cost. But you're not always going to be in the ideal situation. You just got to make the best of where you find yourself.
I think it was in the $300K range. Once we sit down and total it all up.
Everything together.
Yeah.
So Justin, we're going to have a build series on building the facility.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That'd be awesome. I like that.
Building with Jeremy.
Yeah.
Justin, I appreciate your time so much, man. I know how busy you are, and just for you to sit in on this really means a lot. Before we let you go, I mean, we just had just shy of 100 people tapped in tonight. So anything you want to say to the viewers out there, all the love and support?
Team Monarch. Yeah.
Did you say Team Monarch?
I'm sure he did.
You just said Team Monarch now?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and thanks for it's amazing. It's like hanging out with friends with all you guys. You're all awesome, and I love you. Thanks for having me on.
Love you too, buddy. Guys, please, if you're not already, I don't know if it must be personal if you're not following Canova at this point, but Canova Reptiles on Instagram, and every Friday, right? You don't miss. It doesn't seem like you miss a vlog on Fridays, Justin.
We don't miss.
9 a.m., right?
9 a.m. your time, and back on the left coast. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa! Why do you have to say the left coast, dude?
No, we know why. We know
we are pretty left out there, huh? But no, guys, thank you so much. Give it up. It's a wrap for Justin. Thank you so much. Have a good night, Justin.
Take it easy, Justin. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Later.
Okay, finally he's gone. Thank goodness. I mean, the whole show's been about Justin.
Yeah, now we can really, now we can really talk.
Yeah.
No, really great episode, guys. I appreciate everything that we talked about. And I think one of the biggest things I feel like about tonight's episode was, you sharing how much money needs to be put into something when, let's think about the value of each animal. And we talk about how much time and effort goes into each clutch. Why wouldn't you want to dedicate something like this to your animals? And then it comes with time, you know what I'm saying? But I just feel like, I don't know, man. I feel personally, I know if you do good things in this hobby, it rewards you. And if you are coming into this hobby thinking it's impossible to get a facility like this, it's not. I got to tell you, it's time. You put your head down and do your work, and you never know where this hobby could take you. So it's inspiring to be in this facility. So thanks for having me, guys. Really means a lot. I will let you guys know I am putting out an epic vlog on MorphMarket's YouTube channel. So be ready for that, highlighting Monarch heavily. But yeah, let's kind of go around the horn and any final words from you, Belial?
Say that again.
Belial.
It's close enough.
Wait, say it one more time.
Before you leave, you're gonna get it. Belial.
What did I say?
Belial.
Oh.
Sound like you're from the left coast. You said it left coast. Yeah. So the reason I was asking that is because often we're asked, like, why our snakes cost so much, right? But giving people an idea of how much you invest in it, it kind of helps them understand, right? The 1.4 for a clutch, that's a pretty large number, right? So 300 to build this facility just to have the snake, it gives them a business model to understand why the prices are what they are. Not saying that you can't negotiate. So I am one that doesn't mind negotiating, but I know some people don't like that. Just don't be outrageous with it. So that said, thanks for coming out. He is actually cool in person. It's not just on Trap Talk. He's actually cool. I'll be honest and let y'all know that. But if y'all can follow me, I have a lot of stuff coming out. I don't really post as much because I don't really feel like I benefit from it because I don't sell as much. But I do have a lot of stuff coming soon. So if you can follow me on Belial_Maddox. I said Belial_Maddox. That was my old one. I'm sorry. It's late. It's late here. The coffee's wearing off. Maddox_Morphs. Yes. Maddox_Morphs on Instagram.
The link to his IG is in the description below also. So go follow.
What time is
it? 11:45. Yeah.
Man, I'm honored to be in the circle and everything. It's a pleasure to have met you, man. I followed you a lot of your shows, a lot of good information. I just look for the future of this project. So I'm working in Monarch too. I'm looking forward to throwing in my own little spin on things, right? So I definitely know that in the future, Monarch going to be super hot, man. Super hot, man. It's some crazy stuff coming, But y'all can follow me on More for Us LLC _quality_pairing on Instagram. I really don't do too many of TikTok. Same thing. Yeah. It'll be in the link.
All right. First and foremost, Andrew, appreciate you coming, traveling out here, inviting us on the show. Really appreciate it. Bilal, Clarence, appreciate you guys joining us as well. Like Justin says, it's time flies when you just so you got a group of friends together. Appreciate you guys.
Snake time is definitely different.
All right.
Send us home. Send us home, Sebastian.
Yeah. So just a couple of things. So first of all, thank you. Very much appreciate you coming out. We've been talking about this for a couple of years, and thank you very much for coming out.
My pleasure, man.
I'll say as well that we've got this facility. We love hosting people. We've got this here. We've got a fridge you can't see it here full of beers and soft drinks. Nothing.
Wait, there's beer in here.
There is.
Oh my God, we'll wait.
Yeah. And so part of the huge amount of fun with this is people coming not just see Monarch, come and see a whole collection. Let's talk about snakes for a couple of hours. Come and have dinner with us. We'll sit here and we'll talk snakes. And
let me be real quick, guys. Okay, listen, I love the snakes, but this is what I like. Honestly, sitting down in front of all you guys and like talking about snakes is what makes the snakes what they are. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to say, like, I was on the plane, like, dude, I'm so happy I get to see Sebastian in his own place. We get to do a show in person like we talked about. So I want to say, like, respect to everything going on here, but this is what I was looking forward to.
Appreciate you saying that very much.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So we will continue to host visitors, and particularly those that have bought from us or looking to buy, come down. We've got somebody flying in from Miami on Saturday, coming to get one particular snake and bringing his daughter as well. And another young kid who wants to, she's doing it with her dad. I think she's 13. Yeah. They're coming all the way from Miami to do a tour. And I, awesome. That's what it's about.
That's what it's about.
That brings the joy to me. And good snakes and good people. You still got to run a business. You still got to do everything else that we all do. But good snakes and good people sell snakes. It's not, it's not rocket science what we're doing here.
And as much as whatever, we all have different types of people in this world, but it's not hard to find good people in the reptile world.
No,
it's pretty awesome.
Yes.
And we're talking about the ones who are really dedicating their time to it. And we're not talking about just influencers who are good at creating following. We're talking about people who are going to shows, putting their face to their accounts, which, we met at Tinley's.
Yeah.
That's how we connect everything. Yeah. And I want to say this, a little good news, bad news, maybe for Adam. Good news is I'm here. I did it. But now that I'm here and I met you, Adam, I need a Trap Talk episode, buddy. I need you one-on-one on Trap Talk. Can you give that to the people? Like, I want to talk some 2008, 2009 stuff with you, buddy.
All right, I can do that.
You do that? Yeah. And Clarence, you're coming, buddy. I want you too.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. I appreciate you guys. Yeah. Guys, again, thank you so much. And this was all possible for MorphMarket. Thank you, MorphMarket, for sponsoring me to come out here, talk to these awesome guys. So make sure, guys, if you're shipping your reptiles, you go to MorphMarket Shipping, the best in the shipping game. And I appreciate all you guys. You can find all the links to these guys in the description below. Go give them a follow. But it's a wrap. Episode 623 in the books, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good night, and we're out. Peace.